All right, good evening, football fans. Welcome to Percy Stadium here on the rainy Friday night from Coquitlam as we get set for the BC High School football game of the week. And tonight it's Lord Tweedsmuir taking on the Centennial Centaurs. It's Jake Elliott, Jay Prepchuck with you once again. Welcome back to the broadcast, Jay.
Thank you, It's great to be here. Just full go with football, and I was at the Notre Dame victory over Mount Doug today at 8 rinks there, and left St. Thomas More was also playing. They were up on Mount Boucherie today, so Notre Dame, congratulations on the big victory today against the Mount Doug hard-fought battle at Burnaby 8 rinks today.
We'll touch on that as the evening progresses here, as the Panthers of Tweedsmuir will be in the white with the green trim. Centaurs are in their traditional blue with the red helmets. And looks like Centennial will receive as the regular season gets going for these two clubs. Jay, a couple exhibition games in the books for Tweedsmuir and a couple of down south teams. They go 1-1 against Linden, which they lost, and the other one was a 14-0 victory for Tweedsmuir. So talking with coaches around the league here a little bit, Jay, as they get set up and teed up here. By the end of the season, Tweedsmuir should be one of those teams in the mix come December in the Subway Bowl at BC Place.
Absolutely. December 1st, there's a pretty good chance that the Lord Tweedsmuir Panthers are going to be in that football game. They got a lot of talented players, and talking to Coach Kawaza today, the offensive coordinator, he's very excited about this season, and again, lots of great players that are going to be playing tonight.
Set to go from town center. Kick it off. Let's play some football. And the Centaurs on the return here, a slow, methodical one, and tackled down rather quickly was Cole Cascino. And no yard markers here on the field, so bear with us a little bit as we'll have to go off the yard markers and quite well back from the playing surface here at Percy Perry Stadium as well, which will make it a little more challenging for us, but bear with us on a rainy Friday night here.
Yeah, Centennial getting on the ball right away. Their young quarterback, Cale Cowley, has got a lot of talent. I've been able to coach him over the last many years, and let's see if they can generate some offense early in this ball game.
It looks like Dolan actually starting at quarterback here, I believe. And he's going to throw as he pump fakes on first down, and the Panthers bring the blitz on first down, and they get home quickly. And it's an early sack here against the Centaurs. And Jay, we had a chance to watch the Centaurs here about a year ago for the game of the week, and at that time it was a very young, up-and-coming Centennial team, a lot of grade 10s. They didn't lose a lot of bodies off that Centaur roster from last season, but still really a team that's growing here in the BC High School Football League.
Absolutely, and they are going to be a force in the upcoming years, but right now they've got a real young squad.
And they'll get dropped for another loss here as they went with the option pitch, and that one goes backwards for about 8 yards and going to bring up a third and forever here.
Yeah, right away you want to see that the Lord Tweedsmuir Panthers, they want to set the tone early in this ball game, and they've got a very, very aggressive defense. And again, stopping Centennial on a little quick pitch to the outside for another big loss. Brings up third and a long 20, looks like just over 20 yards.
Yeah, got to get close to the 35-yard line for a first down. They're backed up right around the 12. And it'll be Hasdallen to throw, and good-looking throw, but it was never going to be enough for a first down as it falls incomplete, and Centennial will have to kick away here. Yeah, it's maybe a bit of a mismatch on paper here tonight between the Panthers and the Centaurs, but hang with us here on a Friday night as we'll bring you this high school game.
Yeah, and the advantage, definitely an advantage to Lord Tweedsmuir here with this weather. Fortunately, we have a good turf field where it's not natural grass, and hopefully the players will be able to get some good footing. And let's see if the Centaurs can kind of keep this close.
And of course, they do turn the uprights around here at Percy Perry Stadium to line up for the American rules football as the end zone set up for Canadian football. As here's the first punt of the game. And it's a low-line drive. Brought in around the 45-yard line, and a good return on here for the Panthers. Flag comes in as along the far sideline, finally pushed out of bounds. As that was Lilly on the return.
Yeah, nice job by Caden Lilly to catch that ball in the air. punt returners out there, it's important that you try not, especially with this weather, try not to let the ball hit the ground and catch the ball in the air and a good return. But it looks like it's all going to come back with probably a hold or a clipping penalty, which again is something that's easy to do. These guys early in a ball game, they're keen. They want to make big plays, especially on special teams, because there's a lot of guys out there that are not necessarily the starters, and they want to show their coaches that they can play and are ready to play. So still pretty good field position starting at center field for the Panthers.
They will line up right on the 50-yard line, as Trey Jones will orchestrate the offense here for the Panthers, and he and his brother, who was the backup quarterback, unavailable for that game against Linden in their second exhibition contest. And here's a handoff right up the middle and a huge gap. Room to run here on the opening play from scrimmage for the Panthers. Is going to go for a touchdown all the way down the field into the end zone.
Yeah, and there's Noah Anderson, the tailback, grade 11, 5'11", 180 pounds, and boy, he sure hit that hole quickly, and good job by the big boys up front for the Panthers to open up a big seam, and gosh, what a start for the Panthers. Exactly what they wanted to do is score early, and again, Noah Anderson, a good, young, powerful tailback for the Panthers that I know Coach Kawaza's got real high hopes for, and is a big, strong running back.
They will line up to kick here as Joseph Drysdale will handle the place kicking duties. Low snap, good handle. Low kick is up and through the uprights. So they get a 3-and-out on defense to the Panthers, and then one play from the line of scrimmage. It came from the 50-yard line. Anderson with a house call.
Yeah, it didn't take long again for it didn't matter that there was a clipping penalty on Caden Lilly's punt return there, because certainly that's exactly what the Panthers wanted to do. And Coach Kawaza, again, the offensive coordinator, told me today that, he thought that they were going to probably just pound the ball. And, the Panthers really are so dynamic on offense. They've got all these dangerous receivers that, want to get the football, of course. But what the Panthers do, too, so well is, spread the field out with their receivers and run right up the middle, and evident by the very first play of the game offensively for them.
Talking with Coach Thornton earlier in the week, says really his offense a well-balanced one and wants to keep the opposing defense off balance by running repass options, spreading it out, pounding the rock, doing all different sorts of things so they can't get a read on what kind of defense to play against this Panther offense.
Yeah, exactly. They're very diversified, and they've got so many weapons. They can run a power game, and they can run a spread game, and, they've got all the tools to really put up some points this year offensively.
Good open field tackle there. Good form tackle by Omer Cody. And deep field position here for the Centaurs once again. They'll start from about the 18-yard line, it looks like. Again, no yard markers on the field here at Town Center, so bear with us as far as yardage goes here tonight. It's not up on the scoreboard either. Just outside the 18-yard box, I suppose, for the soccer linings here on the turf field. And it's a 1st and 10. Has Dolan back in there at the shotgun. He'll send a man across the formation. He'll hand it off to him on the sweep, and nothing doing against the Panther defense. Once again, 3-4 Panthers on the scene to make that tackle for another loss, as it's about -20 now offensively here for Centennial.
Yeah, just trying to jet sweep, trying to get the ball to the outside. But again, the Panthers' defensive ends are well versed against that football play, and another loss for the Centaurs, bringing up another tough situation of 2nd and 15 for them.
Yeah, and it just gives the opportunity to the Panthers to, once they get that opening loss, just to pin their ears back and come after the quarterback and not allow the receivers to get downfield, not allow them enough time to get downfield before they get pressure into the backfield. And here it comes again, thrown up for grabs, and it's a pick 6.
Yeah, the quarterback looks like he's directing the running back that he felt was supposed to run a flat pattern. He ran a little curl over the middle, but they tried to clear out everybody with the wide receivers and just try to hit that back underneath. And unfortunately, a little bit of a miscommunication there on the offensive side of the football for the Centaurs. So, definitely not the start that the Centennial Centaurs wanted in this football game.
Yeah, that was Terrell Jones on the pick. Brother Trey is the starting quarterback. Terrell the backup, and younger brother. And he was the one that made the interception. It just kind of dropped into his hands. It's the extra point up and good, and it's 14-0 quickly here for Lord Tweedsmuir.
Yeah, Terrell doing a good job of just playing in the flat as a flat defender, and read the quarterback's eyes and saw the ball come out of his hands and made a nice job, did a good job of picking the ball off. And of course, that's every running or every defensive player, I guess, his dream is to be able to intercept a football and run for.
I never got a chance to do that in my brief football career, Jay Prepchuk. I was usually planted somewhere on the interior of the line, and
hey, they score touchdowns too. And boy, I tell you, I know what it's like as a quarterback because
you're usually the one throwing the picks.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I did throw a few pick sixes in my life, but those are ones that I would like to.
Were never your fault, though. It was always a receiver ran the wrong route.
Right through his hands, bad hands.
Tips,
they didn't have gloves at the time.
Ball,
And
weather.
Exactly. All the excuses when we played those games in Idaho and Montana. Yeah, there was a few pick sixes against us, that's for sure.
Drysdale with the kick, and it's a good one. It'll bounce all the way through the back of the end zone for a touchback.
I think Drysdale might be the busiest guy out there today with the kickoff team for the Panthers.
He might be, and we mentioned this might be a bit of a mismatch to start the proceedings, and it's looking like it might go that way here tonight at 4-0, and the field really slanted towards the Centaur end zone right now. And Jay, I mean, if you're Centennial right now, you've tried a couple of different things. You've tried the jet sweep. You've tried a little screen pass. Do you maybe not just go quarterback keeper here and try and pound it ahead for a couple of yards? Keep it real simple for these guys. And even if you go 3 and out, just don't go backwards here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking, too. They do run an open set and a little bit of motion here, and just did exactly what you called there, Jake, is a little bit of a quarterback draw. And, again, the Panthers are ready for that. Anytime that a team runs a formation where there's 5 receivers and no running backs, the middle linebackers are always going to really key on that quarterback. And they're, trust me, they're yelling quarterback draw, and thinking that, that's going to be the primary play if they're going to run the football, right? So only a loss of 1, so maybe that could be a positive here. But
we don't want to joke, but I mean, only a loss of 1, and that's actually going forward for Centennial right now. We've lost yards on every play that they've run from the line of scrimmage here. So a loss of 1 is actually a gain, if you will, for Centennial as a timeout on the field here. And it's got to be frustrating for a guy like Hesdallen who, is an ultra-talented football player, but just doesn't really have the supporting cast surrounding him quite yet.
Yeah, exactly. And, as a grade 12 player, it is disappointing for him to come out and have a start like this. But, he's a good athlete. And, again, with Centennial as really building this football program, they've got to be patient with their kids. At least they've got, they're fielding a team, right? They've got some excellent coaches. Eric Taylor, Mark Beswick are some excellent football coaches. And, again, they just have to be patient and be positive if they can, and try to see if they can get a few yards on the ground here and make something positive out of this.
Well, they need some protection up front and give the quarterback a chance to make a play here is, I think, the key for Centennial. As here comes the pressure again, and there's just 3 guys busting through the line, Jay, and there's just no chance for Hesdallen to get rid of the football in time.
Yeah, exactly. And this just shows how, much of a team game football is, right? And that the fact that the linemen play such an important role both offensively and defensively, right? So, the Centennial offensive line, maybe they, got to do a better job of holding up, because the Panthers are not blitzing. They're just bringing 4 linemen in their traditional 4-3.
You can't blame Tweedsmuir for playing the game to their full potential either at this point. I mean, it's still in the first quarter. It's only 14-0 here, and they're going to play whistle to whistle here and do everything they can that their coach is expecting them to do. And
Absolutely.
Here we go on another major 3rd and long. It's a low snap this time, and look out. Ball right near the goal line, and I think the signal coming, it's Centennial ball, but spotted down at the 1-yard line here, and it might be time for Centennial just to take a safety here and play a little field position, Jay, because the prospects of kicking out of your own end zone backed up along the back goal line here just to get the snap away too many bad things can happen, and I think maybe just take a knee and then get the free kick here.
Yeah, exactly, and that is actually what did happen. Walter Becker, the veteran senior official here, the head man today, Mr. Becker, Sarge is.
Yeah, I heard you
many of us
barking out on the field
yeah.
Earlier.
He called a safety there, so we've got actually a excellent refereeing crew. We got Frank Roberto out there as one of the referees, longtime high school coach and administrator, and actually an ex-teammate of mine from Simon Fraser. And we got Walter Sarge Becker out there, Lenny DeJulius, Mr. Kozak. We've got actually a great group of officials out there.
I love having you on the broadcast show because you know all the officials by name just by looking out at the field, something I could never be able to do. So enhancing the broadcast just by knowing the officials.
I did have a little bit of a cheat sheet because I did ask Mr. Roberto who the officials were today. So he sent me the full.
You never give away the broadcaster secrets like that, man.
I'm just learning, I guess. So, yeah, it's a good crew tonight, and I know that they're going to keep this in order. And again, Walter Becker is the head man tonight, and he's going to keep a good, orderly game going.
We should probably have full disclosure here, Jay Prepchuk, because I'm a former Centennial Centaur myself, grad 91, back into the days of Joe Galeska as the head coach back in the old Centennial Centaurs days. So it's been a while since I've gone to see a Centennial game. I think we had one here last year as well, but near and dear to my heart, born and raised in Coquitlam, and it's where I spent my formative years, I guess they would say, Jay Prepchuk.
Right. Well, they had some great teams. You know, Centennials had some great teams. And you know what? In the future, they're going to have some great teams. I heard new school and new facility and so on.
Tearing it up, the old building.
It's going to be exciting.
That one goes right off the face mask, and good juke right near the center line and into Centennial territory on the return. That was Drysdale, I believe, on the return. The kicker doing the returning this time, and Tweedsmuir, who have only run one play from scrimmage here so far tonight, but already lead the football game 14-0.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really a dream start for a football team to be able to come out and first play of the game, run for a touchdown, 50-yard touchdown, pick six, safety. They're really doing it in all facets of the game.
Well, looks like the rain letting up just a little bit here as we approach the halfway mark of quarter number one. And back to throw is Jones. Lots of time in the pocket. Guns one. And that one falls incomplete. Intended for O'Doom. Looked like a pretty good throw from Jones, and one that O'Doom should probably have caught. But it falls incomplete. It's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, exactly. And Trey Jones is really improved at that quarterback position. I know he was on Team BC U18 team. Taylor Nill, the offensive coordinator who also coaches at UBC, was very, very impressed with the improvement of Trey Jones.
Now, did he come through the Jay Prepchuk quarterback camp?
He's been there years ago, as a young fella. We had a chance to coach him up.
2nd and 10. Here's a little swing. And it's Drysdale on the cut, and he's got room to gallop once again, and he's off to the end zone once again. Touchdown, Panthers.
Yeah, and Coach Kawaza, very, very experienced offensive coordinator for the Panthers. You know, he's got his set 10 plays that he wants to run, establishing the run on the very first play of the game for the touchdown, a little crossing route for the second play, and a little motion and swing pass to the outside to, for just to get Jones going and get him in a bit of a rhythm. But outstanding burst and a great execution by the Panthers. And it's tough for them, too, when you get up like this, and they want to still run their offense.
Nobody wants to embarrass anybody here, but it's definitely a mismatch. There's no question about that, as that one is no good, and the score will be 20-0 here. But again, going back and kind of talking through some of the coaches here early in the season about their exhibition games, and I don't know if you can get a good read on what your team is going to be like playing some of those teams down in Washington State, but the fact that they go 1-1 against two teams down Washington, fairly close games as well. Tweedsmuir is stiff competition. We had a chance, at least I did, to have a look at the defending champion, Westminster Hayaks, for their homecoming game against Abbotsford last week in an exhibition game. And the Hayaks look like they're going to be contenders again with Kinsale Phillip back at quarterback for a third season there. And you put Tweedsmuir in the conversation. Terry Fox is always going to be in the mix as well. You saw Mount Doug and Notre Dame earlier today, another two teams So by when it all shakes down, I think Abbotsford's got a chance to be in the mix as well. It's going to be in a real interesting late November, early December to see who all kind of slots where and who matches up come playoff time.
That's right. You know, there is a tremendous amount of parity this year, and it's going to be an exciting high school season, right? And New West, like you said, defeated Handsworth today at 36-6, and you know, they are definitely going to be one of the top teams as well this year.
Tackle made, and Centennial will try and get something started here offensively. And I'm not sure exactly what the mercy rule is here, Jay Prepchuk. I think it's a 30-point lead is when they may start to run the clock. And, I mean, we've only had less than 5 minutes expire here in a 3-score game already. And you don't want to subject these kids to a long, punishing night like this. So we'll see how long it takes for them to run the clock here, so to speak. But work to do for the Centaurs, and maybe their best field position of the evening so far for this 1st and 10. As Dolan out of the shotgun. Good protection this time, but the pass sails on him, and not sure if there was a receiver out there to make a play as well. Maybe a miscommunication on a route run there.
Yeah, same play that they ran when they had the pick six, and good for Coach Taylor to come back to that particular football play. And again, trying to just clear all the receivers out and try to hit the running back in the flat. A quick throw, a quick game play that is very advisable for this time of the game, especially when the Tweedsmuir Panthers are bringing all that early pressure.
And better protection this time, but Hasdallen again high with the throw. Looks like the offensive line doing a bit of a better job the last couple of snaps, giving Hasdallen at least a couple of steamboats to get rid of the football, but he's now got to do a better job to put it on the money.
Yeah, exactly, and he's just doing, ran the same play the other way, so clearing all the receivers out and just trying to hit that running back out in the flat. Again, another good call, but just a little bit rushed, and just maybe got to just settle down a little bit to try to get some confidence from that quarterback position.
Good news, they have not lost any yardage. It's 3rd and 10. Surveying here, 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the high, and a single set running back in there as well. Long snap count here is maybe an audible coming here from Hasdallen. Low snap, pressure off the edge. Ball falls incomplete, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, even though the Tweedsmuir Panthers are up by a big score, they're still being very, very aggressive on defense. Blitzing linebackers, playing at cover 0. They're playing bump coverage.
Well, especially at the high school level, Jay, you only get so many live snaps per week. And for Tweedsmuir, these are just as important as they are for Centennial to execute what they've practiced all week long, both offensively and defensively. And you can't replace live football, and you got to take advantage of when you get your opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just running their game plan, right? And again, they are a pressure type defense, and that's exactly what they showed on that last play.
And over and kick takes a Centennial bounce, and a good one at that. Now it's picked up and might have outkicked the coverage here. No, good job from Centennial to wrap up. And they'll pin the Panthers back at the 25-yard line as Omer Cody had the ball skip past him and then just nowhere to go after a healthy punt. That traveled close to about 70 yards there, Jay Prepchuk.
Yeah, they got a great bounce on there. And again, another indication. And I know those young punt returners and kickoff returners at home are listening, and their coaches tell them all the time, make sure that you catch that ball in the air, even though it's an inclement weather tonight, and you got to catch that ball because that ball's going to hit the turf and it's going to bounce, and that's exactly what happens. So
you just never know which way the ball is going to bounce when it does hit the turf, and we have a downed Centennial Centaur back around the 40-yard line of Centennial. I didn't pick up a number. Not sure if you did or not, Jay.
No, not. But we do have some Ottertown scores.
All right, give it to me, man.
Here we go again. Notre Dame Jugglers with a big, hard-fought battle over Mount Doug, 15-12 for the Jugglers today. New Westminster defeats Handsworth 36-6. Robert Bateman from Abbotsford 27. Westside from Kamloops 0. The Windsor Dukes in a big battle of the North Shore schools. Windsor Dukes defending AA champions,
Yes.
defeated the Argyle Pipers 32-0. So, again, scores are just kind of coming in. If you guys get a chance out there to send me a message, send us a message.
Yeah,
somehow,
we haven't done that.
whether
Throw
we're
out the
going
old
to-
Twitter
we'll
handle
have
there if
to.
you want, Jay. Why not?
Yeah, just Jay Prepcheck for me, and Jake,
I
you're
am at PXP, the number 4 sports. You should know that by now if you're a big fan of the BC High School Football Game of the Week here on SportsCanada.TV. PXP for sports. Jay, you were like forcing me into like an Instagram live. You're making me take selfies, all sorts of things before the game here. You got some more information you want to share during this injury timeout?
Okay, well, let's see. We got our correspondent, Brian Gamble, the high school football president, who is a Lord Tweedsmuir teacher, the athletic director, busiest guy out there.
Just a fine
Mr.
human being all around as
Gamble,
well.
exactly. So we had a good chat with him on the way in, and I guess the Mercy rule, 29 points after half. Both coaches need to agree to run the clock. So
I think we will get to that point here. We still have over 6 minutes to go here in this first quarter. It is 22-0 in favor of the Panthers, who have the ball. And we'll start offense here from the 29. Out of the shotgun with 2 in the backfield, and they'll run it on first down. And another big hole. Look out. And right up the gut, and this is going to the house once again. O'Doom goes for about 70.
yeah, and it's again, it's a challenge for Coach Kawaza there to get the ball to all of his players, because he's got so many different talented players out there with Drysdale, Lilly, the Jones brothers, Jaden Simon, of course.
A lot of weapons. Yeah, we haven't even called his name yet, have we? We might have to get G-Roy over here at halftime if he's lingering about the crowd, which is a decent crowd here at Percy Stadium.
Yeah, and
Perry Stadium. I keep getting that backwards for some reason.
Jaden Simon, birthday boy for birthday boy. So hopefully we can get a touchdown for the birthday boy out there today. But
Drysdale extra point. Better kick this time. Up and good. And now 29-0 Panthers. Should mention next week for the BC High School Football Game of the Week, Handsworth will take on Carson Graham from the campus of Carson.
Yeah, it's always the big game, the Buchanan Bowl. It's always an exciting time.
The Buchanan Bowl. Now, tell me about the Buchanan Bowl, because that's the first time I've heard about this.
John Buchanan is a famous gentleman that was very instrumental in football programs and athletics, and an administrator on the North Shore. John Buchanan, his son, of course, went on and is a teacher at Carson Graham, and coached for many years, coached football for many years at Carson Graham. So you know what? It's an exciting time. It's usually early in the season, and this time, this game actually is even more of an impactful game, because it's a league game, and usually the teams have either been AA or AAA,
right,
and just kind of looked at as an exhibition game, even though the coaches and the players never looked at it as an exhibition game, of course, right? But it'll be a great atmosphere. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Edmonton with the UBC
don't say that, because that's a good thing for you.
Yeah, well, I'm disappointed to be able to miss the game and work another game with you, Jake.
We'll have more games to come, Jay. Hard hit there and knocked down. As that was number 70, Kyle Dodd, in on the tackle, and not sure who the return man was for Centennial there, but he felt every ounce of that tackle.
Yeah, he really did. And, Centennial did a nice job of setting up a return, and it was just, again, the aggressiveness and the speed of the Lord Tweedsmuir Panthers that were able to get down there and make a tackle on that kickoff team. But, Centennial did have a well-run and well-executed return set up on that particular kickoff return.
I'm not sure if Taylor Henderson is listening into the broadcast or not, Jay Prepchuck, but he asked me to send along a hello to you, my old employer with the Langley Rivermen Hockey Club at the BCHL, and said to say hello.
Yeah, great family, great people. Got a chance to play a lot of golf with those folks down at
I watched the foot wedge on Roy.
Exactly.
At the old Chilliwack Country Club there, yeah. I've been out. I know.
Right. I understand that they are.
Their son Bobby, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree either. So just keep an eye out for the old Henderson foot wedge, I like to call it.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get out and play with the family very much, but we had some good
Taylor
good
can
times.
golf now. He can
I remember him being able to hit it a long way, and as long as he can kind of straighten it out.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you go to the driving
family.
range. You go to the driving range enough time. Usually, you can figure it out.
Exactly.
Second down here for Centennial as they went backwards once again, lost about 8. Here's the pitch, and up this time they'll get some yardage back, and maybe the first time that they've actually gone forwards from a play.
Yeah, it looks like they've got. It looks like Cale is in there at.
It was Cowley in at quarterback now.
Exactly. Yeah, and so Cale is. Going to be a great football player. He's only grade 10 right now, and big, tall, 6'4", quarterback that has some great skill. He's keen. He played with us and the Team BC U16 team this past summer as we played in the tournament in Edmonton. And Cale's got a lot of talent, that's for sure. A lot of potential as a quarterback.
Third and about 14 here for Cowley. He'll throw. Receiver not looking towards the football, and can start to sense the frustration on that Centaur sideline. It's one thing to be overmatched talent-wise, but when you have a receiver in that play right there, just does not look back to the football. It's just a missed assignment, and those are the kind of plays that, as a coach, you practice, and then when it goes live and your receiver doesn't look back to the football, that's the kind of thing that can drive you right up the wall.
Yeah, exactly. And especially since, in that particular play, Cale did a great job of dropping, quick 3-step drop, and looked to, the correct area. That was an open spot there, and if that receiver had run a flat route.
That's a live football. I think the Centaurs are on it. Or are they? I don't know if Tweedsmuir ever gave up on that football. But they'll say Centennial possession. And again, just a case of, I think they wanted the fair catch there, but did not secure the football and then actually touched it. And once you do that, then it's up for grabs. And Centennial downfield quickly pounces on top of that loose pigskin, and best field position of the evening here around the 44-yard line for 1st and 10.
That's right. One positive for the Centaurs tonight has been their special teams, right? Their punt teams get a lot of practice, that's for sure.
Rain
but
picking up once again. And Kelly, the lanky pivot here, squats down, claps the hands together, took a low snap, look out. Fumbled the football and wisely just falls on top of it. That's what you teach him to do, isn't it, Jay Prepchuck?
Yeah.
Anytime you slip a ball out of your hands deep in the backfield there, just get down on top of it. Don't try and do something extra special after making a bit of a miscue.
Yeah, and certainly a little more difficult when you're 6'4" and the ball is snapped low like that, and you're going to expect something like that, those kind of things to happen when, again, it's starting to rain, as you said again, and difficult for that center to get a good grip on the ball. And, pretty well most teams now are in a shotgun formation, so the shotgun snap is kind of something that you take for granted during a regular football game, but certainly when you get into a situation where, it is raining and raining this hard, it is difficult for those centers to get the ball back properly.
So a injured Panther on the field. He'll be rolled over to his back, and instead of rambling just to hear ourselves talk, Jay, why don't we take a quick time out here on SportsCanada.TV. We'll be back when live action resumes in the BC High School Football Game of the Week. All right, football fans, just about set to go once again here. Jay Kelly, Jay Prepchuck with you. Clock running here in the first quarter with 4 minutes to go in it, and Tweedsmuir Panther team convincingly in the lead here, 29-0. But I think a hard count just got him to jump offside, or was it a false start, Jay?
I'm not sure here. We'll see what the rev. There was lots of movement out there. A few of the offensive players and defensive players kind of moving at the same time. But yeah, it looks like, and that oftentimes happens when you get a new quarterback come in, and his cadence might be just a little bit different. And that's certainly what happened. Drawing the right tackle moved a little bit early on that Centaurs offensive line.
So they're going to get to about the 48-yard line here at Tweedsmuir for a first down. It's second, and let's call it close to 20. There's Callie to throw, pressured, avoids one tackle, throws it up for grabs, and it's dropped. As an easy interception there, slipped through the hands of Noah Anderson, and that was going back to the end zone if he got both hands around that football.
Yeah, it really was. And Cale did a good job of stepping up in the pocket. He got some good upfield pressure from the defensive ends of the Panthers. And Cale did a good job stepping up into the pocket. But, again, an ill-advised throw, and very fortunate not to have that football picked off.
The rain coming down even harder now here late in this first quarter. As I think one of the Panthers shown the sideline. I'm not sure why. Maybe an undone chin strap, maybe a little blood on his jersey. I'm not sure what the situation was there for O'Doom, but he gets told to head to the Panther sideline. As they'll keep it. Well, it should be third down. Now they flip the board over. Third down, long, deep throw here into traffic. Wrestling match for it, and it's caught. Felipe Ruiz on the reception. How about it, Jay Prepchuk?
Yeah, nice job by Cale. Excellent job dropping back. A lot of poise and a big boost, and see if they can maintain and sustain this drive. They come out back with their open set, 3 receivers to the left and 2 receivers to the right side. And Coach Taylor letting them know what the next play is.
It was really just a jump ball, and one that Ruiz wanted a little more than the defensive back for Tweedsmuir. Empty backfield once again. Here's Hesdallen half in motion. Now he'll park himself in the slot. What do we got? Full start? No, we got a timeout.
Timeout. Just not quite sure. And you know what? As a young quarterback, it's a good idea. One thing that I did notice about Cale, coaching him this summer again at the U16 Team BC tournament in Edmonton, Cale has a lot of poise for somebody that's only in grade 10 and didn't quite like the setup, didn't quite like the call there. So well advised to call timeout for the Centaurs and kind of get organized and see if they can sustain a little bit of a drive here. They see that the Panthers are not really changing their defense. Very, very aggressive coming up, playing bump man-to-man. So maybe if they're going to try to take a shot here and, take a quick drop, maybe just a one-step drop and get it out to one of his favorite receivers, see if he can get a bit of a mismatch and go one-on-one, since the Panthers are not playing with a safety over top.
29-0 lower Tweedsmuir with just under 3 minutes to go here in this first quarter. That's now over a half an hour old. And a lot of scoring plays will do that as Cowley stands again in an empty backfield here. As a long look to his right, then a quick one out to his left. Sets himself as the whistle goes, claps the hands, sends him in motion. Here's the snap and hand it off and around. And he'll lose a yard. So again, there's just not much running room out on the edges here against this Panther defense.
Exactly. The defensive ends for the Panthers are really coming up the field very hard. When they're kind of in an outside shade, when they line up outside of the offensive tackles and get up the field, that quickly and powerfully, it's very, very difficult for that offensive tackle to get that reach block and secure the edge for the Centaurs. So, again, difficult play to run against very physical defensive ends that the Panthers have.
Call it 2nd and 11. From about the 43. Low snap picked off the deck by Cowley. He's out of time, and another big loss here for Centennial. And just a nice job there from Salenza just to fall on top of the football and make sure that the Centaurs keep possession.
Yeah, exactly. Just a real aggressive attitude by that Panther defense, and playing their 4-man front and blitzing 3 linebackers on that particular play. It's just such a very difficult play to pick up, especially when you have a low snap like that and it throws your timing off for the offensive play, even though it was just a running play to the right-hand side of the Centennial Centaurs offense.
About a 3rd and 16 now.
See if they come back with that little inside seam pass that they had success with earlier.
Going to get to the 30 for a first down. It looks like Tweedsmuir jumped that time. Let's check the signal from Sarge here.
No, you can call him a nickname. You can call him Sarge. Are you
you started that. I would never have known that was his nickname. If
you can only call him Sarge if you know him.
Okay.
Okay. So
Fair
don't
enough.
try to get in on the
head official.
Club.
I don't even know his real name now. I just know him by Sarge.
Walter Becker.
Head official Walter Becker with the false start call.
Long-time North Delta football coach. A great man, Mr. Becker.
It's 3rd and 20 now. Callie loads up the gun, fires it into traffic once again. This time incomplete. Pretty good arm, but O'Doon back there on coverage broke it up, and it'll bring up 4th down here for the Centaurs.
Yeah, Cale just with the 3-step drop, and why not? When you're 3rd and well over 20 yards to go, just take a shot, right? Why not? Just throw it up, and Brandon Wong, his receiver there, just wasn't able to make a play on that ball because the corner was, of course, playing in a deep 3rd coverage and knowing that they're going to run a deep pass, difficult to complete, but Cale got away a pretty good pass there.
They will kick away. It's a high kick. And if there's one area the Panthers have had a little bit of trouble, it's been fielding punts, and they're in some trouble again as they get on top of the football after muffing it the first time around. It was recovered around the 11-yard line.
Yeah, it is tough to figure out without the yard markers out here at Percy Perry Park, as we're calling it, right? I'm used to Town Center as well.
Let's go with Town Center because I can't seem to get Perry Percy or Percy Perry straight here tonight. It is Percy Perry. And that was Bonkouch Michael. And I almost want to say that they mixed up the first and last names there on the roster as they've gone with the first name first, last name last, but I think they might have mixed up Michael and Bonkouch there. And here's another big run here for Tweedsmuir. And just too fast down this near sideline. Finally pushed out of bounds around the 23 after a massive run there from Omer Cody once again.
Yeah, just straight up the middle, and Jones handing off right over the left guard, and offensive line doing a fine job. Again, Coach Kawaza said that they've got a good, strong offensive line that's just starting to gel, and of course that position is the one position in football that really does take its time to gel, especially with the zone blocking schemes that so many teams run these days. And look for the Panthers to just keep on getting better and better as the season goes on, with those offensive linemen starting to gel together as a unit.
Excuse me, and that's really a big thing in high school is as they look into the end zone here, it's deep and out of bounds, but the improvement that a team can make from, say, late August when they start practicing, by the time that they get to December, the amount of impact the coaching staff and the amount of improvement that the roster can have on a high school football team is almost night and day. So what you see early in September is not necessarily what you were going to see come early December.
Exactly, and sometimes that is a challenge for coaches, right? Is if you have a very good football team, to continue to stress with these young men that, we've got to get better. We've got to improve all the time, right? And, Centennial is a team that's certainly going to get better. And they're going to improve. They got, again, with Mark Beswick and Eric Taylor, they got a fine coaching staff. And as we said, there's a lot of grade 10s. I know some of these players out there. There's some grade 9s on the roster. There's a lot of grade 10s on the roster out there that are just out there working hard. And, they're learning, exactly. And learning the hard way when you play certainly against a team that is the Panthers. So, again, a little screen pass out to the left-hand side there, and Jones just couldn't quite get that completion because there's certainly lots of room if that ball was caught.
We'll see if the Centaur defense can get off the field here as Jones rolls out, looks downfield, got a man in the end zone, and it's a touchdown.
That little bootleg pass to the right-hand side. The wide receiver running a little bit of a corner route, and certainly did a nice job of getting the ball out there, even though, again, with the wet ball and the rain out there, it was a good job by Jones to get that ball out there for the completion. Let's see what...
did we get a penalty flag on that last play? Maybe a holding back. I think this one might be coming back.
Yeah, looks like Mr. Roberto,
But how about the arm there on Trey Jones? That's running across his body, throwing deep on the run across his body. That's not an easy throw to make for a quarterback, and he got it all the way into the back corner of the end zone.
Yeah, he really did. A very, very talented young man who, again, has improved, and with the coaching of Coach Kawaza, he's just going to continue to get better, especially, you know, the fact that he's got so many very dangerous receivers out there. He's got lots of players to get the ball to. That's
going to get
sure.
to the 15 for a first down now. Jones looks like he's going to try and run for it himself. Oh, what a cut. Jones makes another cut. Dragging. Oh, ball comes loose. And Centennial on top of it. I think Jones had the first down, but then didn't secure the football. And the Centaurs come up with a turnover and get their defense off the field.
Yeah, big play there. Again, a good job by Trey Jones to take off with that football. And, you know, that often happens with the quarterback. So they're not used necessarily to be carrying the football. And, you know, again, with the conditions out there, maybe not carrying the ball as securely as he should have. Good job by Centennial to strip the ball and avoid possibly a touchdown. But Jones certainly showed a great burst up the field, and he did a nice job taking off with that football.
Oh, low for Brad. Jay Prepchung, got to secure that thing.
Absolutely. We talk about having two in for those young football players out there. We talk about having two in trouble, and two in trouble meaning two hands on the ball, especially when you're getting into contact.
Flag coming in.
Yeah, it's illegal substitution. Unfortunately, Centennial had an extra player on the field. Unfortunately, that player was just trying to get off the field, running out of the back of the end zone.
But those are the type of penalties against, you know, when you're overmatched like Centennial is here tonight, you can't afford those type of ones. And that'll back them up right against their goal line here. As we have just 10 seconds to go here in this first quarter. It's been a long one, especially for Centennial, who trail 29-0. But have shown slight improvement here in the second quarter. Kelly to throw over the middle. Completion made. And that has Dolan on the reception as he picks up close to 8.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing for Centennial. I think, you know, as they were progressing through their offense, they see an injury down there on the field, unfortunately.
I think it might be Cowley, the quarterback, that's down, and man, oh man.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose that youngster.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, just as I was going to, you know, you making the comment that Herstalen came in and started a quarterback, of course, right? But he's such a great athlete in the grade 12 at 6 foot, 205 pounds.
Want to find ways to get him the football.
Exactly, right. And so they moved him, of course, to receiver, and Cale did a nice job of hitting him on a little crossing pattern there. And unfortunately, it looked like the defensive line for the Panthers converged all at the same time on Cale. And, you know, let's just hope that he's going to be all right to get up here. And part of the game, of course, is injuries. And here's Cale jumping up, and
looks like he'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be back in this ball game, knowing that he's a tough kid, and you know, he'll want to get back in there as we conclude the first quarter. Yeah,
you don't play this sport if you don't have a little bit of toughness in your body. Is Conley trying to have a look across the field here, Jay? It looks like he's kind of holding his elbow, so. You know, although he is up and walking off, depending on which elbow or shoulder it may be, might be tough for Cowley to get back into this game as he's kind of keeping himself immobilized a little bit. And, you know, that's not an ideal situation there for a quarterback to not be able to have full use of your wings.
Yeah, and you know what, though, as you say, as we talk about it, it's a game, it's a physical game, right? But I know that you know, all of the coaches, especially in the last 10 years, probably the biggest thing that's changed in football is, you know, the amount of the clinics, the safety aspect. Exactly. Like, you know, people, the coaches now have completely changed the way they coach tackling. And I know that.
Well, even just full contact practices and, you know, wearing the extra padding on the helmets during practice and all those sorts of things. the knowledge that people now know about how to prevent injury in the sport of football has just come miles in the last 5 years, let's say, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know that the high school coaches have certification clinics this summer. They had a certification clinic where they had a new tackling program come in and, teach the coaches how to tackle properly. Over 170 coaches at a clinic. And so I know parents out there are very, very concerned about the injury factor. As they should be, yeah. But I know that, I know football is one sport that really is doing an excellent job of trying to prevent
Well, they're on
injuries.
the leading edge because there's so many eyeballs focusing on the sport of football and the rules and the contact and the concussions. And so they have to be the innovators, the pioneers on player safety, on form tackling, and all these sorts of things to protect players so kids continue to enroll in their sport. As another busted play here, is that a Tweedsmuir touchdown?
Yeah, no, it could have very easily been there. A swing pass out to the right-hand side, and that ball got away a little bit.
That's about as far away on Percy Perry Stadium Field here that we can get from our broadcast location.
Yeah, even though it was far away, we could certainly see that it was a pass that was thrown behind the receiver, and a pass that's thrown behind the receiver in the backfield like that is a live football.
Lateral.
Exactly, and Centennial was very, very fortunate. Their running back did a great job of jumping on that, being alert to jump on that ball, because certainly the Tweedsmuir Panther defensive backs could have easily scooped that ball up and scored another defensive touchdown for the Panthers. So a very alert play by the tailback that came out of the backfield there to jump on that football and prevented another touchdown from the Panthers.
Still working on Cowley in the tent, if you will. Not the concussion tent, Jay Perchuk, but they're working on him on the trainer's table. So it's Hesdallen in there at quarterback right now. Man, they are backed up along their goal line once again. And it's dicey territory here for the Saints. As Dallin claps the hands. Everybody's set. Here's the snap and option read, and Hesdallen will keep it. Just gets... No, he does not get out. I think that's the safety. Hard to tell from our angle here, Jay Prepchuk, but I think the official made the safety call.
Yeah, I absolutely. And, with Hesdallen in there, they're trying to get, their athletes the ball, right? And as a quarterback, again, 205-pound quarterback, they've trying to run him up the middle and trying to get a little bit of a fake in there and have him run off tackle. But again, the Tweedsmuir Panthers, they're, as I said, they're very well coached, and they know that when Hesdallen is in there at quarterback, that he's going to be definitely a run threat. When Cale Cowley goes in, he's definitely going to be more of a pass threat. So the Panthers, being as well coached as they are, they know exactly what the offense, what plays Centennial is going to run. And that's one thing about football. High school football coaches do such a great job of preparing their football players for, for the opponent coming up. And both of these football teams are always going to go into a football game well prepared and, have their defenses particularly ready for the things that, their opponent does offensively.
It'll be a free kick here for the Centaurs, and they'll come from the 20, and they'll go with the teed up option here for Felipe Ruiz. Drysdale and Omer Cody back to receive, standing around their own 40-yard line. Yeah, it's a low-line drive and a good one. There's good handle there to secure that one for Drysdale. And here's the return on through the middle of the field. And look at the jukes here from Drysdale as he gets all the way back down to the 35-yard line of Centennial, and an excellent return that started with a nice handle off a hot kick that skipped off the turf.
Yeah, and special teams, of course, are such an important part of a football game, right? They're really 1/3 of the game, and, a game can really change based on a special team play, whether it's a block.
Do you look at it like that, Jay Prepchuk, that, it's 33% offense, 33% defense, and you give an even share to the special teams game in the sport of football? You put that big of emphasis on it?
I think so because, big special teams players have such an impact in a game. Like, I think there's...
Well, big special teams play can have such a huge impact momentum-wise on a football game for sure. Those quick strike plays, those scoring plays. If you can connect on a special teams play, it just seems to juice up the bench a little bit more than a regular play from a line of scrimmage set.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe that, the statistic out there, if a team blocks a punt and scores on a scoop and score off a block punt, they're going to win a game 90% of the time, right? So
there's Jones to throw. The lefty loads it deep into the end zone. Touchdown. What a strike from Trey Jones.
Yeah, beautiful, well-executed bootleg play, a great play to run on first down where a lot of teams will expect a team to run the football, and Jones does a great job of faking the off tackle to the left, rolling to his right-hand side, coming back and hitting that backside post for a touchdown. Perfect throw, put that ball right on the money. Excellent, well-executed bootleg pass for a touchdown.
Beautiful thrown ball. Almost, I'm not sure if it was number 19 that was on the reception there or not, Jay, but he had to be very close to that upright goalpost there when he
was close
in
to that
full
post,
stride,
as I
looking
said.
back to the football there. That's
exactly. Even those
dicey.
those goalposts, even though they're
that'll stop you in your tracks in a hurry.
That's for sure. That talking about safety, but again, that was just a well executed play, and again, Tweedsmuir in a situation right now where they're trying their best to execute and just running their offense right now. Even though the score is big right now, it's very difficult for them not to just go out and continue to run their offense, right?
And G-Roy is in the house here, Jay Prepchuk, sporting his BC Lions jacket.
Yeah, we'll have to get G-Roy up here.
Well, you probably got a better shot at doing that than I do, so I'll leave that to the quarterback to hook up with the receiver there. See what I did there, Jay Prepchuk?
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback hook up with the receiver? That's
on
the fly off the top of my head right there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been great to get to know G-Roy over the last many years with him helping out at, with our quarterback and receiver camps. He's just such an excellent coach. He really is a detailed coach, and of course the kids really look up and say, wow,
Sure.
I'm getting coached by G-Roy Simon.
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time, exactly. And you know what, he is he's a quality individual
and then willing to take the time to
yeah.
talk to schmucks like us when he comes to watch his kid play, which is nice.
Exactly. So there's a kick out of the end zone, and Centennial will scrimmage the ball first down at the 20-yard line. We know where that's going to scrimmage from with a touchback and getting the ball back out there for Centennial with the busy football weekend.
I can tell you this before we get started on the out-of-town scoreboard and what's happening around the province. I can tell you, Jay Prepchuk, I am so glad you're here beside me tonight for a game such as this, because trying to call this one by myself, I think people would be needing cups of coffee just to stay entertained here tonight. It's a bit of a thrashing by the Panthers over the Centaurs right now, leading 37-0.
Well, I hope we haven't lost anybody yet, but I know there's some people that are probably watching a little CFL football, I believe.
Sure, and give us an update out of Winnipeg. Johnny Mansell doing his. Maybe try to get you an update out of that as we move along. Is another play going to go for a loss here for the Centaurs?
Yeah, I was excited to see my Cleveland Browns. I can now say
your okay.
We're going down the notes here.
This is the first time I've ever heard you talk about them being your Cleveland Browns.
I was going to
All
wear
of a sudden
my
they
Browns
win
hat
for the first time in 2 years, and suddenly they're your Cleveland Browns. I see how it works.
I was going to wear my Browns hat tonight, and I couldn't find it. I don't know where.
Funny.
Where it is.
Funny
it's
how
at the
that
back of the
score
back of the
out of Winnipeg. Blue Bombers up a touchdown, 21-14 over the Alouettes with about 8 minutes to play from Manitoba.
Well, I know the true fans are going to be out there. They're going to have their computer beside their TV,
That's the way you
and
do it.
they're watching us on their computer, and they are watching Glenn Suter and TSN.
Never heard of him.
Bark
No, I'm
out
just
that, Glenn Suter wannabe right here that is just
He's
trying
got
to.
nothing
Julio
on you,
Caravetta. Julio Caravetta.
He's got nothing on you, Jay Prepchuk.
Love listening to the Moj and Julio. A big game with another event tomorrow. So BC
they
Lions.
got Tiger Cats tomorrow.
Yeah, big game.
Home and
against
home
the
with
Tiger
the
Cats.
Tiger Cats, right?
Yeah, exactly. A little bit.
And that's a big couple of games there for them because they're kind of slotted in that crossover position right now.
Yeah.
And a couple of wins would put them right in the thick of things in the West, but really kind of give them some security for that crossover if they can get past Hamilton a couple of times.
Exactly, and they always talk about the CFL season kind of starting after Labor Day,
Sure.
and of course every game is big now, and it's such a, you got the Calgarys and the Edmontons up there, and everybody else. It's just kind of trying to make things happen, right? And especially now with Saskatchewan kind of in a little bit of a slump offensively. It's a time for the Lions to, and Jonathan Jennings to
That's
step
his
up.
team once again. No Travis Lele.
Exactly.
We're hoping to
Unfortunately.
get Travis back before the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping Travis comes back for the Subway Bowl as well, but maybe we can get like a three-man crew so we can have a couple of quarterbacks on the broadcast because we don't want to lose your yeoman's work either, Jay Prep.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, Travis did a great job for you guys last December.
Here's the, man, what a game. I still think, look out. And this one's going to be intercepted and returned for a touchdown as well. Late over the middle, I hear, is never a good idea.
That's right.
And Luderode with the interception and the return for 6. And things getting right out of hand here now for the Centaurs. It's 43-0 with the extra point to come.
Just another defensive player being in the right position, reading the quarterback's eyes, and another little advised pass. And again, when you're that far in your end zone, you're thinking, I don't want to give up another safety touch. But that would be one that you'd want to.
Never get to throw away late over the middle, and that one was right into the hands of Luderode. As the extra points up and good once again. And now 44-0. So we kind of covered the CFL gamut a little bit, Jay Prepchuck. What else is on the docket? SFU, your T-Birds are in action as well.
Yeah, exactly. Big homecoming game at Thunderbird Stadium tomorrow at 5 o'clock against the University of Calgary. Of course, the first place University of Calgary. That's going to be a tough battle for us. The Dinos are in first place right now. They're coming off another big win. Their quarterback.
What's the prospects looking like for the T-Birds this year? What do you got? What's the record? What do you got?
We're 1-2 right now. We had a tough loss last week in Regina, so we obviously could very easily be 2-1, and a tough battle to lose to the Regina Rams last weekend. But
what was the issue? Was it quarterbacking? It couldn't have been.
No. You know what? We're still trying to find our way offensively. We're going to gel. I think tomorrow is going to be kind of our breakout game offensively for us. Of course, Michael O'Connor, our outstanding fourth-year quarterback. That
always nice to have one of those.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's just a matter of time, I know, before our offense kind of breaks out. And I think tomorrow is going to be it's a big game tomorrow. I mean, again, playing the first place Calgary Dinos, and it's going to be our homecoming. It's going to be a great game at Thunderbird Stadium at 5 o'clock. So try to get out and see some great football action. SFU's also playing
tomorrow. Bring your rain gear, bring your blankets. Always a little
We're covered
risk
a
out
little
at
bit
Thunderbird.
covered, yeah, exactly. But they're going to get on the grassy knoll on the opposite side.
There
Maybe do some slip and slide over
yeah,
there.
That's always a fun time too.
They're trying to organize
I
that.
I did that at a concert one year. We'll save that story for another day.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? They're trying to figure out what's as far as I know that they're going to be in capacity tomorrow. Last year there was.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was going to be sold out, and there's a little march down through campus, and it's going to be quite the event. So.
Check that out. 5 o'clock there for T-Birds, and then 6 o'clock up the hill, Burnaby Mountain, the Clan in action.
Yeah, and then, of course, the BC Lions. So probably the busiest guy is going to be Howard Samura. He's going to figure out where.
I don't know how he's going to be in 3 places at once.
Yeah, well, knowing if anybody can, it's certainly going to be Howard, right? But I saw him today at the Notre Dame victory over Mount Doug. He was his usual running around. He was
VarsityLetters.ca. Make sure you check out powered by the Langley Event Center. Make sure you check out my man Howard. No, but I fear. I'm being serious here. I fear for high school sports when Howard Samura decides to hang it up, because never in the history of this province has anybody, and I want to say, will anybody ever cover high school sports like Howard Samura? And I'm talking football, basketball, volleyball, you name it. Howard's on top of it, and it's just incredible the amount of time and effort he puts into his work, and it's all on display. As another touchdown for the Panthers. It's all on display at varsityletters.ca. Make sure you check out my man Howard Samura's work because
you know what?
It's about as good as it gets.
Oh, you know what? The thing about Howard's productions and his writing is he's a very entertaining writer.
Oh.
Like, I really enjoy reading the articles. It's of course he's
And if you've ever met Howard, you can hear him speaking to you when you read his article. That's really the sign of a great writer, when you can hear the writer's voice talking to you.
Well, exactly, and
when he paints the picture beautifully.
When you talk to him and when he asks you a question, he's so passionate about what he's asking. Like, he's, how do you feel about the season, Jay? How do you feel about, this matchup? How do you feel about your opponent? And he's like genuinely, like, he's
interested
in your face on the phone, and he's just so passionate about it. And he can be so tenacious, almost like a vulture. And I tell you, one time I phoned him after a game.
The best possible way.
Absolutely, yes. And one time I remember having to phone him after a game, and I was a little bit, I don't know, we were on the island and we were coming back, and the ferry was delayed, and I called him a little bit late, and he's like, Jay, you're so late, right? I was just like, Howard, sorry, man, I got a little bit delayed there, and I was trying to, you're trying to figure out the stats, and you're trying to get the kids on the ferry, you're trying to get.
Well, I'll tell you what, during playoff time for high school football, for instance, and it's really the same thing for high school basketball provincials. He will, show up at the Langley Event Center for basketball at 9 a.m., and he'll be there until about 10:30 at night. And the same thing for high school football playoffs. He's there at 9 o'clock. He's walking out at 11, and it's just like, it's unbelievable how much time and effort he puts in.
Right, exactly.
What do you got there?
And the president, of course, Coach Gemmell, reminding us that BC High School Football is a founding member and annual contributor to support Howard and the Varsity Letters program. So
rightly so. And
great job by BC High School Football to take that initiative and
like
support Howard.
When it ended at the province for Howard, I thought, my goodness, like, what are local sports and high school sports going to do without Howard Samura? And kudos to the BC High School Foundation, to the Langley Event Center in particular, to strike up Varsity Letters and keep his legacy alive, because without him, the sports at the high school level here in BC in particular just would not nearly be the same, and people wouldn't be anywhere close to being as plugged in as they are with him.
Yeah, exactly. And when I want to find out a high school score, sometimes, you go through your social media, you go through your Instagram, you go through your Facebook, you go through Twitter, you're trying to find high school scores. I remember last weekend when I was in Regina after our game on Friday night, I wanted to, of course, check in and see what the high school scores were, right? So I'm looking for the scores, and I'm going, of course, Howard's got the scores, right? So the early Friday report, the late Friday night report, the early Saturday report. So,
He's got scores from games that aren't even played.
Exactly.
I'll just give you a score.
Yeah.
You need a score? Here's the score.
Exactly. So, and it's great that, like you said, he covers all sports, right? And, I'll just open up his article and
girls,
see.
Boys, you name it.
Exactly. And covers the whole gamut. So, Howard, keep up the good work. We love you, man. And I know he's been doing it for a long time. And let's just hope that he can continue.
He needs to take somebody under his wing as a protege and show him how it's done. Is what needs to happen. Completion made there. Is we'll turn our attention back to this game here momentarily. A positive
nice
gain
throw
there
over
for
the middle.
Senators.
Nice throw over the middle there. At good timing route, and the Panther linebackers were blitzing there, so it was a good call to get that ball in a curl route.
Throw, another completion, hard hit. She just got lit up by Drysdale, but hung on to the football nicely there. Did number 5, Macri, on the catch, and that might be the first down of the game for the Centennial Centaurs as they move the sticks into Panther territory.
Yeah, besides the seam route that they caught down the middle earlier from Cowley, but definitely a nice play by the Centaurs, and let's see if they can continue to get things moving here.
Still no sign of Cowley in the game as it has Dolan to throw again, a high pass. Caught once again as Centennial getting a little aggressive here, moving the ball downfield, and timing always key on passes like that. And good hookup once again from Hesdallen to Macri.
Absolutely, right on time. And again, the Panthers not showing blitz right now. They're just rushing their four-man defensive line, and a nice job by just getting a quick drop and getting that ball out of his hands quickly by the quarterback.
Well, let's see if the Centennial Centaurs can get some points on the board here. A little miscue on the snap, but it's going to work out okay. Oh, nice move and a spin move inside. We'll pick up close to 5, falling forward. As that was Cole Cascino on the carry.
Yeah, nice burst up the middle by Cascino there, running back, that grade 11 running back, 160 pounds, did a good job of hitting that hole quickly and making a good cut to the outside.
Excuse me, on the angle here, not very good for us, and that will be good enough for a first down.
Centaurs on the move.
Here's Hesdallen, here's the pressure, swing it out, and just a little high and incomplete, intended for Salenza.
Coming back to the plays that they ran early in the football game, just trying to get the running back the ball in the flat to the wide side of the field, and the Panthers doing a good job of defense. The outside linebacker just kind of getting to his flat area and reading that play. If it was completed, there certainly not have been a very big gain for the Centaurs there.
Kelly's sitting under the tent here in front of our location. I think his evening is over, but Hesdallen is kind of taken over, but just as I say, an interception and coming back the other way after such a promising drive there. Coach on the pick.
Yeah, exactly. And, the Panthers came back into their pressure defense. They blitzed the linebackers and played man-to-man, what we call coverage zero, meaning there was not a safety there. And it was the right read. You just had to put a little bit of air on that football to kind of get it up and over, as the defensive back from the Panthers did a really good job of kind of undercutting that ball and getting the interception. Otherwise, that could have easily been a touchdown for Centennial. Quarterbacks just get a little bit more air on that ball when you get coverage zero, when you have a no safety look.
So, Panthers get the football back here. They'll snap it quickly, and ball is loose. And I think Tweedsmuir got back on top of the football. It will be a loss. No, they're going to say Centennial ball. So, a little sloppy play there from the Panthers. And the Centaurs get it right back here. And again, they'll set up inside Tweedsmuir territory here around the 30-yard line.
Yeah, big break for the Centaurs. So, right now the coaches are just trying to be positive for the Centennial football team right now, and just trying to keep their players up. And, let's see if we can get a score here, right? Let's see if we can get something going, something positive right now to make this
respectable.
Let's say respectable, exactly.
Somebody near and dear after my heart, coming in with some ADNAC paraphernalia on Jay Prepton.
Oh, there you go. Lacrosse fans out there. Big news from the lacrosse world today. That
touch
you
on
can,
that as the evening moves along here. We're sure we're going to need some things to talk about. As Hesdallen on the run as he picked up a fumbled snap. And in room to gallop as they'll pick up close to 6. And making something out of nothing there was the Centennial quarterback.
Yeah, nice job showing his athleticism. The low snap, the Panthers' defensive line just a little bit aggressive. They lost contain there, and Hesdallen doing a nice job of getting the ball. And, like to see his toughness, not running out of bounds. He stayed in bounds and, took on the hit from the defensive back. A nice gain of 7 yards for Hesdallen.
So about 2nd and 4 now. And a work out of the shotgun is been predominantly the set that they've gone out of offensively here. And it's a quarterback keeper again trying to pick his way through, and not much. Good stop on defense there by the Panthers. Will bring up a 3rd down.
And definitely right now they're looking at, it's 4-down football right now for them. I mean, they're gonna be gambling, I would assume, in this situation. So see if they can get a couple of yards here and try to get a first down as we get close to the end of this second quarter.
Yes, it is in the second quarter, yes. Injury on the field here.
So looking ahead, just mark in your calendars, they're sports fans,
people
football
actually
fans.
still mark their calendars.
Well,
I think they put them in their smartphones now, do they not? Mark your
Exactly.
where do you
Mark
like go to your
okay.
your car insurance place to get a calendar these days?
Well,
right?
exactly. Just you
pharmacy.
still have calendars up in your house or somewhere, don't you? And December 1st is the Subway Bowl this year, and
really?
again, as you mentioned earlier, December 1st. It's it seems like December so far away, but it's
not going to take long to get there.
It happens quickly, yeah. Once the playoffs start, and wild card weekend, of course, is usually that second weekend of November. Just kind of falls through.
Yeah, it seems like everything's kind of like a week earlier than it was last year for the most part, and I'm sure they'll be back at BC Place once again to see if they turn the heat on this year or not.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Probably not, just warmly, but
well, they won't have the roof open, I'm not sure, but they can.
One thing we know now, Farhan will be wearing shorts. We can assure you of that.
Exactly, and the way the Hayaks are playing, they're probably going to be back in the mix.
You got a prediction? What do you think, Jay? Call it right now. Put it out there. Who's in the Subway AAA final come December 1st?
I'm not going there. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take the easy way out there.
Just pull the
total
chute on that one.
there.
Okay. Has Dolan to throw. It looks deep. 1-on-1 out there. It's caught, and a flag comes in as well, right near the goal line. I think they're going to mark him down at the 1-yard line. It's going to be first and goal here for Centennial.
Yeah, positive play. Just get that ball up in the air, and a good job by the receiver to come down with that pass. It looked like there was
Senga on the catch, and he really had to work to stay with that ball there, Jay. It took a long time to come down. Was it number 11? I believe?
No, you called it right there. Hey, that was a great. Hey, it was whoever it was a great catch, right? Like you said, it's very difficult to see sometimes the numbers down there, but even though he was interfered with, the Panther defensive back was kind of all over him, and
I'm not sure if it was 11 or 12. Might have been Aaron Williams.
Nice job by the Centennial receiver to come down with that football.
He really stayed with it. Like he had to wait a long time for that ball, and by the time it got to him, his defender was right on it, but. Good concentration there to watch that one into the hands and then secure it going to the ground and completing the catch, as they say, Jen.
Yeah, and let's see if they're going to run his Dolan up the middle on this,
I think
this particular situation. Where are they? Right on the 1-yard line?
Pass interference penalty decline. You can't get any closer than the 1-inch line. So
exactly, because that would be a 15-yard penalty. Otherwise, it looked like it was probably a 24-yard completion, 24.5-yard completion that took him down to the 1-yard line.
Even I can do that math, Jay Prepchuk. Even I can do that math. First and goal. Let's see if the Centaurs can punch it in here. As the rain picks up even more here in this second quarter, has Dolan on the quarterback keep. Trying to power his way to the goal line, and touchdown, Centennial.
There you go. Good job.
The home crowd likes that here at Town Center.
Yeah, and, a good call by Coach Taylor to get the ball into his athletes' hands. And, the quarterback did a nice job of a little bit of fake inside and taking the ball on a kind of a quarterback lead power, as we might call it. And a good job of getting the Centaurs on the board here.
And what has been obviously a very rough half here for Centennial. That one is going to feel good for the Centaurs going into the locker room at halftime. That, listen, we're down big here to a prominent power in Tweedsmuir, but listen, we just, caused a turnover and we marched it into the end zone. We can play a little bit too, and they'll probably come out in that second half feeling a lot better about themselves getting that ball into the end zone here in the second as they make it 51-6 with an extra point to come. An extra point is good.
Yeah, and as we talked about
Sarvari on the extra point there.
And as we talked about earlier, there is kind of a mercy rule, a 29-point rule, but has to be agreed with by both coaches. So, the referees will meet with the coaches at halftime.
We don't get a say in that? Is that what you're telling me, Jay?
I want to play. Hey, let's play. Let's play it out, right? Well, we want to keep on, and we're enjoying ourselves up here. And
the rain is.
We are covered. Thank goodness. There's
we are.
The beautiful.
Thank goodness for that. It is coming down in sheets right now, though. It is really. I don't know if our camera is doing it justice right now. We're getting a shot of the rain coming down at the lights. Buckets of water here at Town Center right now.
Good job by our Troyelle there and
Yes.
Leanne at working the camera and kind of
SportsCanada.TV.
taking
The crew.
control up here and making sure everything's running smoothly. And let's see, we've got some.
Yeah, you want to
Get
get
a
in?
cold there?
Yeah,
You guys,
get
that
'em.
okay?
No,
That one
they're
here.
sugar-free, man. So just so you know, I used to go with like the cherry all the time. And then finally somebody said, like, if you're going to go through hulls like you do, you should
Right.
probably go to the sugar-free one so you don't rot your teeth out. And
I
I
can tell
swear
that
I
you're a
should still
veteran.
be.
You're a veteran.
I should be working on a sponsorship, but the amount of holes I've put in my mouth over the 20 years of broadcasting that I've done, keeping those guys in business. Here's the kickoff. It's a low-lying drive. Will it stay in bounds? It will not. That'll be procedure on Centennial. As Tweedsmuir, who's been a little lackadaisical, maybe a little sloppy the last couple of possessions, and probably a little human nature is there as well, being up as large as they are to kind of take your foot off the pedal a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe that last Centaur score will snap the focus back here for the Tweedsmuir Panthers on this upcoming drive.
Yeah, coaches have to make a decision at this time as well for both teams. You know, do we put in, some of our second-team guys, some of our third-team guys, and that is, one nice thing, of course, about a score like this is that some of the second-team players
Sure.
that don't usually get a chance to
You're
play.
not going to get that opportunity every single week. Trey Jones on the keep. And room to run for Jones. Look at the speed from Jones, and he's gone. Down the far sideline before being forced out. And a late flag coming in for, I think, a hit out of bounds. And that's the other thing you got to guard against here a little bit, Jay. Is, you're leading 51-7. How long do you want to keep your starters in? It's a long season. Don't you take the opportunity to get your – I know you want to get reps and everything in there, but then you got to start to kind of guard against potential injury and fatigue and all this. Just,
Yeah.
So,
you really
how
do.
long do you leave your number one guys in is the question.
Yeah, it's tough. But, like we talked about earlier, football is such a unique game in the sense that the guys are out there, they're practicing in high school football, you are practicing every single day. Is that Cale going in?
Yeah, Callie with his shoulder wrapped up and off to the locker room for the youngster.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. I'll maybe send him a message and see if we can see how he's get a updated report right from him.
From the 10, here's an option read. Look out. That's a lateral on a live football. And Centennial will drop him for a loss of about 10. There's good pursuit to the football there from Mason Burdo.
Yeah, and we know that, again, Coach Kawaza, the offensive coordinator, has his set plays that he wants to work on today, right? And certainly he mentioned to me earlier today that an option play was in their game plan. And
I think they want to do a little bit of everything as far as, spreading the offense out, running up the middle, read pass option. They want to test the waters, but, and this is obviously an opportunity for Tweedsmuir to do that against a team like Centennial. Try some things that you may not do against stiffer competition just to see how it works out for you. Second and a long one. They'll hand off. And Centennial into the back. Ball comes loose. And the Centaurs have it. Another turnover on the Panthers.
Yeah, good job by the right side of the Centennial defense to get that pursuit. And every time you have an outside sweep play like that, it's that defensive end is really got to do a good job of containing. And, of course, on that play, the Centennial defensive end does a nice job of getting up the field and not only making the tackle, but also creating a fumble on that play.
So clock starts to run here with 2.5 minutes to go to halftime, and it is just an absolute sheet of rain coming down here on top of Percy Perry Stadium right now. Relentless rain and relentless defense here from Centennial, as I guess they did not get the turnover on that last play, but they do come up with another big loss here, and late in this second quarter, almost looking like a different looking Centennial Centaur football team coming off that touchdown, now looking much more aggressive and
they
performing well on defense.
Yeah, and what happens oftentimes in this situation is that Lord Tweedsmuir may have some of their second-team offensive players in, especially on the offensive line.
And that can be a pretty big drop-off from the starters to your second starters.
Yeah, and, Centennial is still playing aggressive and blitzing, and it's hard to pick up a blitz even with your first-string offensive line, but certainly to have a second team is a little bit more challenging.
Here comes the blitz again. Jones will roll away from pressure, loads up, fakes the pass. Now he's going to run, dangling that ball out there, but tucks it away and tackled down. I think that was a 4th down gamble there for Tweedsmuir, and I think they picked it up off the legs of Trey Jones.
Interesting to see how they call it, because they did have the sticks down. I believe it was
flag down as well.
Yeah. See what the referees come up with here.
And how big of an adjustment is it for defense, Jay, to go up against a left-handed quarterback? Something you probably don't see a whole lot at the high school level. And, you're so used to seeing it a certain way, plays running a certain way, and all of a sudden you see a lefty come in, and it almost throws you for a bit of a loop.
It can throw you definitely in, especially since you don't have a chance to really practice that. I know we have a outstanding young quarterback at UBC that when he sometimes runs our scout team plays, it does mess up our defense, right? So it definitely is a factor, and it's just something that you can't replicate because you just can't practice it unless you, of course, have a left-handed quarterback on your football team.
I'm a lefty, just so you know, Jay.
Okay, well then they should know that. So the next opponent for Lord Tweedsmuir maybe can get you in there running the scout offense.
Yeah, sling it around a little bit. Why not? That was actually a turnover on downs after the penalty call against Tweedsmuir. So Centennial gets the football with 1:15 to go here to halftime as they take the ball at the 30. And a 1st and 10 for Hesdellen out of the shotgun. He'll hand off up the middle and tackled immediately was Salenza. And back out of the locker rooms comes Cowley, but no helmet or pads on the young grade 10 quarterback. I got to give a quick shout out to the folks at Centennial here. I put in a request beginning of the season for teams to provide nice numeric rosters in order on a single page with phonetic spell. Centennial coming through in the clutch. One thing they left off, Jay, is the position, but I'll take that over any day of some of the things I've gotten over my year and a bit here with well done to the Centennial Centaurs providing me with a beautiful phonetic spellings, numeric rosters, single page.
Gotcha.
Love to see it.
Hey, you know what? I think we apologize if we do mispronounce somebody's name.
Sure.
I know that, being a teacher for many, many years, and of course trying to do attendance.
I get a little squirrely when somebody doesn't put 2 T's on the end of my name.
Right.
You spell it with 1 T.
Yeah.
It just rubs me the wrong way. So I can fully comprehend if you pronounce your name wrong, that's going to set you off a little bit, and we don't want to do that here.
Well, I know what it's like. Even the name like Prep Chuck, people have had problems with Prep Chuck. I was really thankful my mom just had a nice simple name, Jay.
Sure.
My first name.
Sure. Here's Hesdellen to throw. Loops went out there, and man, that's close to a lateral, but it'll fall incomplete.
Again, a dangerous pass out there to the
If you're Centennial right now with 30 seconds to go to halftime, it's a 3rd down. You maybe just keep this one on the ground. Tweedsmuir is probably not calling timeout. Get to the locker room. Don't do anything silly here and give up more points before break time. Because you got a long way to go here in a short amount of time, and there hasn't been a real ability shown to get the ball down the field here. See what they do here on about a 3rd and 12. Centennial used to play their home games up at the old Monday Park behind the Spaney Pool there.
Yeah. Great atmosphere at those parks. I remember coaching a few games in that park. And
much nicer facility now, but the intimate facility there up at, I think it was Monday 4, Monday 5, something they used to call that field.
Right.
Miss those days.
Yeah, I
reminisce.
I do remember, and as a visiting coach bringing a team in, it could be somewhat intimidating coming in there and playing Friday night lights. I think it's great that they still do play Friday night football in high schools. And,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, not a lot of schools are able to do so for various reasons, but you know, it is great to have, you know, the traditional
not every school
Friday
has
night.
the lights and the facilities to do so. I know there's a couple of schools that have to play day games on weekends, and that's okay too. As here comes a punt, and look out, wet football, low snap, in trouble here for Centennial. Brought down and couldn't get the punt away, and now Tweedsmuir with 19 seconds to go will have a chance at the end zone here for one more score before halftime.
Yeah, and going back to, you know, just a minute ago when you mentioned about strategy and what kind of strategy you should have at the end of, you know, clock management, right? 35 seconds left, it's second down, you run the ball once, you burn off the 25-second of the clock, and then, you know, and the half is over. And now
you're not in this position.
You know, you put yourself in a situation where you have to punt the ball, and you know, again, a low snap, and the punter not able to get the ball away, and Tweedsmuir, you know, has another chance to, you know, put another score on the
see how aggressive
scoreboard.
they get here. Jones will hand it off, and that's going to be a touchdown. Untouched into the end zone.
Yeah, just again showing the speed of the Tweedsmuir Panthers. I mean, tonight we're just not going to get a chance, I don't think, to, you know, to really see how many weapons they have when you go through that roster.
I mean, they haven't really thrown the ball a whole lot. Tweedsmuir, they're just running the rock and dominating at the line of scrimmage, opening up huge holes.
Yeah, exactly. And again, going down that roster of Drysdale and Lilly and Jones, the two Jones brothers, Simon, O'Dom, you know, Anderson, the tailback. We haven't even had a chance really to get a chance to look at, you know, the grade 11 tailback in Noah Anderson, who is going to, you know, be a real good, strong player for the Tweedsmuir Panthers. He's a, you know, combination of size and speed and strength. And I know, again, Coach Kawaza is very, very high on, you know, what he can do. And, you know, it's just so many different weapons, and with that offensive line gelling, I think it's going to be, you know, a very successful season for these guys. And as long as they can stay healthy and you know, continue to, you know, run their offense, they're going to have a great season.
Well, 24 minutes in the books and 24 minutes to go here from Town Center. I'm going to send Jay Prepchuk down to the concession stand for some hot chocolate, and we'll take a break here on SportsCanada.TV. Be back in about 8 minutes' time for second half action for the BC High School football game of the week. 58-7 Panthers over the Centaurs. We'll talk to you in a few minutes. Don't make him. All right, football fans, welcome back to SportsCanada.TV. Jake Elliott, Jay Prepchuck with you for the BC High School football game of the week. And not much of a game in that opening half, Jay Prepchuck. 59-7 Panthers over the Centaurs after 24 minutes of play. And we will, in fact, play running time here in the second half as Centennial set to kick off. And Mr. G. Roy, Goat Simon, coming by the broadcast booth here to chat with you in the intermission, Jay. It was good to talk to G. Roy.
Always great to talk to a quality individual, a quality football man that is still passionate about the BC Lions and making the BC Lions a better football team. And he's pretty positive about the outlook for the Lions as they get into the real meat of their season.
Kicking off, let's play some football, and Drysdale wants to play some. He's going to go to the house for a house call here off the opening kick.
Wow, and I tell you, at halftime, both coaches say to their players, right, you know what, it's 0-0 right now, especially the Tweedsmuir coaches, right?
6-0 now.
Well, they say, hey, it's 0-0, let's get out and have a good second half and, just play solid football right from the get-go, right? And, you know what? You couldn't have a better start than running the kickoff back for a touchdown, of course, for the Panthers. Again, showing just great speed, like just tremendous burst all the way down the field. And you know what? Special teams, there you go. We've had special teams touchdowns. We've had defensive touchdowns. We've had passing touchdowns.
And Jay let us know that we were worried about the player who almost ran into the goalpost on that long touchdown. That was, in fact, Jaden Simon, who narrowly avoided disaster there. So,
yeah, what a way to spend your birthday, playing football on a Friday night and scoring a touchdown.
Well, I don't think he'd want it any other way, would he? I think Dad probably likes that as well. You said he's going to be out to that UBC homecoming game tomorrow, 5 o'clock kickoff from Thunderbird Stadium against the Calgary Dinos. Don't miss that one.
Yep, big
and then
game
you can watch that and then skip over to BC Place for a little Ticats Lions right after.
Exactly. It's just the perfect venues, going from one fantastic stadium of Thunderbird Stadium and getting out to BC Place and seeing the Lions take on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So rematch of last week. A little bit of a break for coaches, I think, as they certainly put in time to prepare for the first Hamilton game that they played against, and see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if the Lions can continue to, get a few wins together and going into this, very important part of the season for our BC Lions.
Well, I think now, John Jennings, he can relax a little bit, knowing that he is going to be the guy regardless for the next month, let's say, of this BC Lions. And maybe that, I think he lost his confidence really badly for a while. And I think coming back into the game, getting that win, got him back in the right frame of mind, and now can just look ahead instead of look behind him and look over his shoulder, wondering, is Lule going to be the guy? Am I going to be the guy? He can just go out and focus on playing football, play confident football, and see what he can do. I mean, he's got the opportunity now to take back his job, if you will, over Travis Lule. If he can put a good string of 3-4 games together over the next month here and put Wally Bono in a position where he can't take Jonathan Jennings back out of the lineup because he's playing too well. And that's no slight against Travis Lule, but the longer you can rest him and get him healthy, the better off they are going to be heading into the playoffs anyway.
No question. And I think, the most important kind of word that you mentioned there was confidence, right? And
that's all it is. With Johnny Jennings, that all the attributes, the talents, everything is there for him. It's, between the temples, if you will, and that's the part of the game that he needs to put together.
Yeah, exactly. And, the Lions have got such great receivers, right? You got to get the ball away, get the ball to their talented guys and let them get to work. And
they're doing it without Manny right now. You think of Brian Burnham and the couple of guys that they've just picked up over the last couple of weeks. There's some real talent on the edges there for the Lions, and they just need their pivot to be able to manage the game, deliver the football in the right spots, and then let their playmakers do the work.
Yeah, exactly. And, being Wally's last season, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, right? I mean, wouldn't it be great to see, the winningest coach in CFL history to go out and win his last game?
That'd be something.
So you always want to say that you want to win your last game.
That'd be a storybook finish, wouldn't it? And I think they have just as good a shot as anybody else. When they put their best game together, they can beat anybody in the CFL, but they can also be beat on any given night. So it's going to be about who's playing the best football when playoff time rolls around. Speaking of, Blue Bombers go away winning in easy fashion, 31-14, the final over the Alouettes. So the Blue Bombers getting off the schneid. I think they'd lost 3 or 4 in a row as they get back in the win column under Mike O'Shea.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get home and watch the tape of that game and see how Johnny did tonight, and see
Big Hill.
See what kind of I always love watching Andrew Harris running the ball, and such a versatile
BCFC with the Vancouver Island Raider program.
That's right. And that league, of course, is full speed ahead. The Chilliwack, little shout out to the Chilliwack Huskers.
Excuse me, Jay Prepchuk, Valley Huskers now.
The Valley Huskers. Thank you for
the voice of the Langley Rams, of course. Those two teams just played last week. Impressive victory for the hometown Langley Rams over the 4-1 Huskers.
Not the Surrey Rams, then, right?
No, so Langley Rams now, yes. Formerly the Surrey Rams. You are correct, though.
Well, I still am looking for the scores for the Vancouver Marilomas.
Oh, my goodness.
Where are the
What is a Mariloma?
Where are
Do you know?
You know what? I am a Mariloma, and all those out there listening now, I'm going to have to admit that I'm not sure.
Brian's going to be on the text here in any moment. I think he's going to be the guy to answer your Mariloma.
All I know that many great memories from Connaught Park in Vancouver, and playing for one of the last Vancouver Mariloma teams, certainly not one of the successful Mariloma teams that had won Canadian championships throughout their run, but definitely great memories playing junior football. So, but a competitive conference, all right? You've got
more so than there's kind of been a discussion about that. How the Saskatoon Hilltops are always in the championship game, and they're such a powerhouse team, and they usually dominate the championship game. But that conference, the Prairie Football Conference, is really a conference made up of 2 teams. Mm-hmm. And where here in the BCFC, especially this year, it's really anybody's conference between Langley, Okanagan, VI, West Shore, and now Valley taking a huge step forward as well. So it's just kind of Kamloops right now that's out of the mix, and a lot of discussion on whether that's a good thing or whether you want to load up one BC team to try and compete with Saskatoon, or do you kind of like the parity through the regular season and having a champion that way for the Cullen Cup. So this year, listen, I think it's anybody's league in the BCFC. Who they play coming up in the Prairies will be determined, but I think any one of those teams I just mentioned has a chance to be the BC champion this year, and it's going to be fun to kind of watch the back half of the upcoming BCFC season. Yeah,
I mean, don't count the Rebels out. They've had some changes this year as well, and Shane Beattie
always recruits over and, like no other.
Yeah, exactly, and I find that that's been one of the biggest things I've noticed with junior football is the amount of recruiting that these guys are doing all across Canada. They're not just picking guys from high school. That's just it, right?
Beattie was formerly with the Okanagan Sun and had a huge recruiting class there, but more so than any other year, from what I understand, Dana Matheson, Coach Snoop Blocker, going nationwide this year for his recruiting class and picking guys up that he's been familiar with in past programs. And yeah, we just haven't really seen that in the BCFC like we have this year, where teams have gone right across the country to find talent and load up their rosters for this season.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's competitive because there's so many universities, of course, that are doing the same thing, right?
Another huge run here for the Panthers. Right down to the 3-yard line as they're knocking on the door once again. And really, at the junior level, Jay, it's just about as much as it is being good at the X's and O's and the coaching and everything else. But you got to be a real strong recruiter if you want to compete in that league. And that's a big part of being a football coach at the junior level is not only impacting these kids on the football field, but doing it off the field as well and setting them up for their future in life, whether it be to get to the CIS or the CFL or be a professional in whatever profession they choose to go in after they're done playing junior football.
Yeah, and I think that is a nice motivating factor for junior football players that the CFL are looking at, the Andrew Harrises of the world.
More and more so every year now.
Yeah, exactly. That these guys are, maybe they're not kind of academically oriented, say, to go to university, but they're still,
I like the way you put that, academically oriented.
Well,
no, I know what you're saying.
But there's a lot of people that, they go to trade schools or they'll go to.
And it works both ways. We see kids go from the BCFC to the CIS. We see kids come from the CIS into junior football. And listen, if you're good enough at the game, they're going to find you. And they're looking in that league to find those diamonds in the rough, like your Andrew Harrises or your Daniel Englishes or whoever the case may be.
Yeah, exactly. And, though the rule changes over the years have, I don't think they've really impacted the junior level of play as much as people thought, whereas now, for those that don't know, it's basically the 7-year rule, right? So you graduate from high school, you have 7 years to complete a university football career, say, right? So you could play junior football or midget football
for 2 years or 3 years.
For 2 years, and then basically your clock starts ticking after 2 years. So you could play 2 years of junior football, and you'd still have 5 years of university football left in the U Sports.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you play 3 or 4 years of junior football, you can still go play university football for 2 or 3 years. You may not get to graduate as a football player, but you can still continue your education after you're done playing football as well.
Absolutely, and like you said, the quality people like the Dana Mathesons, the Jay Christiansens, the people that have been
Hattie Abbasi,
that are around football, that deeply care, kind of people that are kind of in the background a little bit that people don't really know about. They don't really know that, there are these folks that are,
and they care about they care about winning. They care about their program, but they care about those kids just as much and making them successful in whatever they intend to do for their rest of their lives as well.
Yeah, and it's great to see, minor football continuing. We just had a good chat with G. Roy Simon at halftime.
Flag football.
They're talking about their game ready program where it's a 7-on-7 is very, very popular now, and they compete in big tournaments down in Vegas and Seattle and all sorts of different places.
Really popular. That what's the word I'm looking for? That type of football, that form of football, the flag, the touch, 7-on-7 football is becoming very, very popular. And not only is it becoming popular, but it's helping these kids that play full contact football develop their skills, and it translates onto this field coming from that field.
Oh, it really does, because you can just look and see, the Jones brothers that are out here playing, the Jaden Simons, the Caden Lillies, those kind of guys that are out here that have played, football. Not just regular tackle football when they start up in August, but they also went through the full gamut of a 7-on-7 season, and the 7-on-7 season starts way back in January,
right?
Right
into the other, yeah.
Exactly. So they have their tryouts, and they get at it right in January, and they are competing, late in winter, early in the spring, and it really does show on the football field when you can see these skilled guys going at it, right? And the other nice thing about playing 7-on-7 or even touch football, it's a lifelong sport, right? Because you're not going to be able to play tackle football all your life. So I know, speaking firsthand, right?
Yeah, that's
speaking firsthand, I played. Yeah, I had a chance to, play touch football. Most of my adult life it's a great experience. Yeah. So those that are out there that are thinking, I'm not playing tackle football any longer. Where's a chance for me to play football? Well, touch football is a very popular sport now that runs spring and during the spring and during the fall, and it's a great way to still be involved in football.
And it's good for young and old as well. Like you can play that at a young age or an older age, such as myself or yours.
There you go.
As well, Jay.
Yeah, and a lot of it's nice to see more and more. I know that I watch a lot of the flag football leagues, especially in North Vancouver and the North Shore, and
that's where the big one is, right? North Van.
There's a huge Wayne Theobald and Lisa Monroe run a fantastic flag football organization, and that's growing. 10 years ago they had 200 kids playing. Now they have well over 1,000 playing flag football every weekend on the North Shore, and it's just great to see. And it's nice to see as well, because more and more girls are starting to come out and play, right? Which is fantastic. And hopefully we can get to the level where some of the prairies, I saw a post on Instagram today where there was the first teenage girls tackle football game.
Wow.
Happening.
Well, I'll tell you what,
in
just a couple of years ago, 2016, I did the Women's World Football Championships from Langley, and I was so impressed. And it was full contact, and there was, a team from France and Mexico and USA and Canada, and I was ultra impressed with the physicality, the execution of the plays that they ran. I saw flea flicker. I mean, these girls, women, as I should say, I got a little trouble for calling them girls. The women were ultra impressive in the way that they played the game, and it was fantastic to call and watch.
Yeah, that is it's great to see, and it's football, right? And the growth of football is hopefully continuing to happen. You can see it even in BC high school football. Great Adam Smith doing a great job with the brand new Stardust program, of course, with looking at the legacy of Rick Klassen, who I was fortunate enough to play with at Simon Fraser University. He was a legend, was definitely the leader of our football team when I played with Simon Fraser years ago. And, they had a big ceremony out there a couple weeks ago with retiring Rick Klassen's Stardust jersey. And George Chaika, of course, a great teammate of his, and was out there, and it was quite the event. And Sullivan Heights, a new program with Gord Randall starting up a new program in Surrey. So it's great to see, the growth of football, whether it's flag football, whether it's touch football, 7-on-7 programs, whatever it may be.
Look out, almost another pick six there. I would say the scorekeeper's probably got the clock operator probably has the easiest job on site right now. He just pushed the start button, Jay, and just kick back for this fourth quarter.
Yeah, it gives us a chance to also, thank the people that make football happen, make the sponsors out there. I know that Subway is...
lay it down, man. There's a lot of them out there, I know.
Subway has always been a major sponsor. That's the Subway Bowl, of course. And, the BC Lions also are a great supporter of amateur football in BC, right? BC Lions, provide 100 tickets to BC high school football athletes to attend every game. Some are using that as a fundraiser, and it's great to see the BC Lions kind of getting into the community and, trying to just make football popular again, I guess, right? And just trying to make it all happen, and it's great to see. I know that being able to, coach for many, many years, and I did a couple of camps out in Surrey when I was at Bear Creek Park in the spring, and gosh, the one day that I was out there helping one of the flag teams and coaching their quarterbacks, the field was covered. There was hundreds of kids playing on all the fields around Bear Creek Park, and it was just great to see that many kids playing football.
Interception and return for a touchdown. Drysdale, a late flag coming in. And we'll see if this one gets wiped out as Drysdale on the return. The flag back down at the 12-yard line here. So we obviously have gotten away from kind of calling the game here, if you will, Jay, but understandably so at 72-7. And clock running here in the fourth quarter. And just checking the laundry here. There's a little bit of a discussion.
Also, a couple of big high school games going on tomorrow. The Carson Graham Eagles are at O'Hagan Park, the famous, wonderful venue of Vancouver College. And there you go to all those Vancouver College alumni out there, right? And big game tomorrow. So Carson Graham at Vancouver College. So I'm going to try to get by and watch a little bit of that game before I head out to our game at UBC. The Rutland Voodoo are playing at West Van. The West Van, I hope this is an up-to-date schedule. Playing at West Van, beautiful venue up in West Vancouver. The Highlanders against the Voodoo. Belmont Bulldogs visiting the Seaquam Seahawks. And again, Sullivan Heights, a new program at Eric Hamber. So actually that should be a good matchup as well. So get out and watch some football tomorrow. Get your umbrella, get your boots on.
Support your local football team.
Dry off and get to BC Place after all the other games that you get a chance to see during the day.
You know what? I might get down to that Lions game tomorrow, Jay. I got a rare Saturday night off. I don't get too many of those. And
right, well, you're a busy guy.
Seeing G. Roy and hearing you talk about all the great football going on around the province, I think I might saddle up to BC Place tomorrow night. Check out Ticats and Lions.
Other big news in the sporting world that you are close to today.
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about what happened in the lacrosse world.
Yeah, down at Rogers Arena earlier today as the Canucks Sports and Entertainment Group purchased the professional lacrosse team here in Vancouver off of Miss Denise Watkins a few months ago and unveiled the new logo, the new team name down at the Raj today, and was really impressed with the presentation as a nice First Nations Haudenosaunee tie-in with going with the name, and nice sleek new looking logo as they've decided on gold, black, and white as their colors.
A little Vegas
little Vegas theme to it, and will now be known as the Vancouver Warriors. So pretty exciting stuff there, and I'm really hoping they call my name in a couple of days and tell me I can keep calling Vancouver lacrosse games. So I'm got my fingers crossed for that.
Can we vote on that? Can we put some? Can we send some messages
in?
Can we call in somewhere? Can we send a text to?
I know my guy Neil McAvoy from the Lions is tuned in here tonight. Maybe he can pass along a message to Mr. Stipik or whoever needs to get the memo. But any support is greatly appreciated. Sure, yeah, I'm not going to turn that down.
And they're playing. Where next year?
They play out of Rogers Arena. The season starts December 8th, and they will take on the Toronto Rock in their home opener.
Nice. You have to pay a little more for parking now if you're going to be getting down there in the SkyTrain.
I'm hoping I get like the pass that gets me underneath into the underground parking lot.
I remember the days of lacrosse.
Yeah,
the big state downtown.
The Ravens back in the day.
Paul Del Monte.
There you go.
Good friend of mine who I've had a chance to coach with at Vancouver College many years ago. But Paul Del Monte
commissioner of the Western Lacrosse Association now. Of course, had a son playing at STM last season. Not sure if he's back for another year or not, Jay Brubchuk.
Yeah, I thought he was playing. No, he had graduated, and I thought he was playing with the Rams, but I may be mistaken.
No, I don't think so. But there's another touchdown for Tweedsmuir.
Yeah, just now they get into their power set, so anytime they, really need to get a yard, they're in double tight in three backs, kind of what we call a full house set, and I'm sure that Coach Kawaza has an unbalanced set at that in that formation as well, where he'll move an extra offensive lineman to one side or the other. If the defense doesn't react to that, they'll outman them to that side. So basic power play there, we call it, just an off tackle where all the offensive linemen and the tight end will block down, backs lead through the hole, kick out block, and tailback gets the ball. So good versatility shown by the Panthers offense here, and of course they have a chance to open things up, as we've mentioned before, right? They can run a power set, they can run a spread set. They've got so many great athletes on their football team that it's going to be interesting to see the Panthers progress through the year and continue to develop and see if their offensive line can develop. And you know what? They certainly are one of the top teams, and if you're looking at December 1st and that Subway Bowl,
they'll be ones to reckon with for sure. As I want to get a couple of more sponsors in here before we let you get on your way. Just over a minute to go in the running clock here. BC Place, BC Lions, TSN 1040, Subway, Big Kahuna, of course, Barron Championship Rings, Skyline Athletics, and Figo and Baden. All prominent sponsors here of BC High School football. And thanks again for tuning in here to the BC High School football Game of the Week on the home of the Game of the Week, SportsCanada.TV. As one more final kickoff to come. Don't forget, next week, football fans should be in for a better contest. The Buchanan Bowl. Jay Prepchuk says it'll be Handsworth that will take on Carson Graham. Note the start time in that 1:30 kickoff from Carson Graham. And then I'm off to Langley after that for a double dipper, Rams and Kamloops. So 2 football games for me next. That's a Saturday, 1:30 from Carson Graham, Handsworth, and Carson from North Vancouver.
Yeah, you know what? It's always great to have the traditional rivalries. You look at the Handsworth, Carson Graham, the Buchanan Bowl. You look at Vancouver College playing against Notre Dame, which is always the last game of the season. I remember how exciting.
The Bishop Bowl was that?
The Archbishop's Cup, that was always.
I was close.
That's always an exciting football matchup, right? So it's great to see.
I think
those
the Bishop Bowl would be a better name for it.
Yeah.
Am I onto something there? I could be onto something.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Maybe they'll
take.
If anybody's still listening out there, I'm not sure if anybody's finished with they're watching Friday Night Lights or what we're doing exactly.
It is the final score here, Jay. So let's get the folks on their way. Not sure the adjective to use in this scoreline. Let's say convincing win for the Lord Tweedsmuir Panthers. Is that an adjective? I don't even know if it is.
You know what? They'll regroup. Hey, both these teams are going to regroup, and Centennial's hopefully going to regroup and get back at it. They're a good young football team. Coach Beswick, Coach Taylor. They've got some great they've got some great coaches, and
can only go up from here.
Yeah, they're playing against one of the very best football teams in all of BC. So they will improve.
78-7 is your final. Handshakes underway here from Percy Perry Stadium. And thanks for joining us on SportsCanada.TV. We'll talk to you next week from North Vancouver. Carson Graham and Handsworth. 1:30 kickoff right here on SportsCanada.TV for our production crew. Here at SportsCanada.TV for Jay Prepchuk, I've been Jake Elliott, and for the Gridiron and the Pigskin, we'll talk to you next Saturday from Carson Graham.
Yeah, that was pretty, that might be the biggest blowout I've ever seen.
How do you sleep it? I don't think I've ever been
at one point when it was 50 to nothing or whatever, and the rain was coming down, I would just, those poor Centennial kids must have just been like